Renewer plus Staff of Flowing Water. Ivern loves cheap support items. But no, they're not going to go with that. After all, looks like they'll just be picking up the Jhin here for Lost yet again. Last time around, it was Lost that was probably the least impressive member of TSM there in game number 1. So we'll see if he has a bit more of a pop-off performance here. But honestly, he doesn't have to. As long as he just stays safe enough, farms up, gets some damage off in the team fights, he's doing fine, especially when Spica is on this Nidalee once more, Kobe. He had an impressive performance in game number 1.
I'm interested to see if they change anything, because Cloud9 are down to run it back, it looks like.
Oh. Nope, Cloud9 are denying.
With the addition, yeah, of course. With the addition here of stealing the Gragas, they really don't think that Huni Huni has that many options of champions he can perform like that on. And honestly, I kind of like that bet from Cloud9. They're doubling down. They say, okay, run it back, but Huni's on something that they think he's going to int more on. They say you can steal one, we can steal one too. TSM go with the Twisted Fate. This is so much better for combining with the Nidalee. Twisted Fate able to set up for possible lane ganks for Nidalee with the gold card. Gold card into Spear, extremely powerful, as well as working with Nidalee to try and aggressively take over this Hecarim early on and take over the jungler early on to roam around the map. We've seen so many teams effectively utilize this TF early on.
And the question I was going to ask, but it's already been answered, is will TSM ban away the Lucian so they don't have to deal with the same matchup that their opponents had to deal with in the previous game? The answer is yes. PowerOfEvil does not want to lane Twisted Fate into that powerful solo laner marksman. Galio also banned out here. Cloud9 saw how much SwordArt was able to accomplish with that frontline support in the previous game, so they'll take that one off the table as well. Now, here's the true challenge of the draft, Mr. Kobe. TSM's got 11 seconds, and I just wanted to lock in a ban. Just a champion. Don't miss it this time. We got to make sure that they don't have 2 of those flubs back-to-back here. This is important. We got to be fixing the errors from game number 1, even if you won. And there it is. Jace banned away, keeping that one away from Fudge.
Interesting, interesting. I would be worried about something like a Sylas coming out, because I think Sylas both works well against TSM's comp in that you can steal Twisted Fate's ultimate to make global plays yourself, but also can dive with Hecarim. And Hecarim loves dive buddies, so they can have a more concerted effort in their dive. And it allows Perkz to still do similar things that he was doing when he was actually Twisted Fate, just by stealing the Twisted Fate ultimate. Plus, I know Perkz has a ton of confidence on that champion. He's performed on it on the world stage.
Well, TSM are going to go ahead and grab themselves something that is definitely not going to be flexed into the support role this time. They've got the Gangplank, so we know exactly where all 4 of these champions are going. TSM wants to save the final pick of the draft here for SwordArt in that bottom lane to get some power in the 2v2 and see if they can have a better performance down there in the lane than they did last time against Zven and Vulcan, who will be running the Kaisa with an Alistar next to it this time around as opposed to a Nautilus. And the final pick for C9. Okay, now we're talking. Now we got Perkz on something that has some real 1v9 carry potential, and I am hyped for it.
It's been so weird acclimating to the pick and ban phase in the LCS lock-in, because Akali has been a big outlier, where we're expecting it to be banned as much as things like Pantheon and Olaf coming into it, but it's got through so many games and now is put into the hands of Perkz. Name another champion that you would want to dive with you, as Hecarim. That's not something like Shen on your back. Akali is one of the perfect ones to do it. That being said, though, I also like the adjustments from TSM. The Gangplank for Huni, this, if you remember back to the days of All-Star Huni, is one of the champions that was permabanned against him. He has so many games played on Gangplank. He does a very good job both in lane, playing defensively or offensively, depending on where his jungler pathing is, as well as playing these team fights well. He has landed more triple chain barrels than I have seen from any other North American LCS player. Plus, I also like the Thresh edition here, for SwordArt into the Alistar, which is one of the scary picks we were expecting for Cloud9, that, Vulcan has had so much success finding these angles and engagements with it.
Yeah, last game, I remember in game number 1, Champion Select, you were talking about expecting to see an Alistar ban. It was a Thresh ban instead, so no Thresh potential there. Now that it's not banned away, SwordArt is picking it up. And that champion just has so much power to either go straight to heaven or straight to hell. You can miss everything and look absolutely ridiculous, or read the other guy's mind, dial it in, look like all your abilities are point and click, and it's incredibly impressive. Remember, the TSM are up 1-0 in this series, and it is only a best of 3 here in the quarterfinals, moving to a best of 5 in semifinals and the grand final after that. So TSM win this one, it's over, and Cloud9 are done until the regular season LCS starts up.
Yeah, and I know Cloud9, big fans of jinxes and memes, so this one's for you. Congratulations, TSM. No way that Cloud9 come back from a 0-1.
Oh, baby. Kobe wants the full 3-game series. I'm excited for it. Let's see how these teams play this one out. One difference I'm already going to point out between the Gragas performance we saw from Huni last game and what we're going to get from Fudge this time around. Huni did take Grasp of the Undying in the previous game. Fudge is taking Comet into the top lane this time. Spica has the Conqueror on the Nidalee, Blaber with the Phase Rush on the Hecarim. Everything makes sense here. Perkz not running Flash on the Akali, going for the very aggressive option of Teleport Ignite instead with Fleet Footwork to keep him topped off on HP. PowerOfEvil with Summoner's Spellbook just to give him more options moving around here. Bottom lane, we're once again seeing a discrepancy in Summoner spells. Last time around, it was AD carries having a difference of Cleanse versus Heal, as well as supports having a difference of Ignite and Exhaust. We're going to see the same thing here once again.
Yeah, very, 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 very important to take Cleanse versus Twisted Fate as an AD carry. Zven going to be able to pick this one up. Plus, your lane itself, Jhin and Thresh, you can even get value out of it there. So pretty much mandatory for bottom lane here, especially considering TSM have eyes towards bottom lane. They've got Gangplank ultimate they can use, plus Twisted Fate ultimate. These are those parties in the bottom lane that you rave about, Captain Flowers, as a jungler, not as an AD carry.
Yeah, I was going to say, as the AD carry on the enemy team, you're the guy who's trying to go to bed nice and early because you've got work at 6 o'clock the next morning, and all of a sudden 20 people kick in the door with a case of Bud Lights, and they're just having a great time partying hard until 2 o'clock.
Ah, nice sellout here in the story, too. I like it. Smooth, Flowers. All right. Both junglers are going to be clearing up towards the top side, though. I like how Blaber just naps his red first and then transitions into double buff. This sets him up. He could go for a super early play. It's definitely very rare on Hecarim to go buff Gromp into gank, but there is a possibility here. I will say that Huni has preemptively warded against it. You see that ward in the river in case Blaber tries to pull off one of those really risky, earlier ganks without cycling his jungle. Generally, Hecarim wants to cycle most of his small camps for his first back and first purchase. As we saw last time, you can get a Sheen right off of full clear and Gromp, and he's going to just try and do that. Thank you for the observers going over that ward to showcase how Huni is trying to account for these possibilities and allow himself to play aggressively. Also in Champ Select, we talked about how you want to play aggressively with Gangplank early on in your lanes with Trial by Fire in these melee matchups. You can stack up, go for the Grasps, plus the Trial by Fire and Qs, and you can bully so many melee matchups early on, even though people are very used to hearing about Gangplank being a dive target and not being able to fend for himself early on.
Yeah, if he's allowed to just push with impunity and control the lane, the power of just point and click spam every time he's got Grasp of the Undying ready to go is just so oppressive for these champions. You can see there, Fudge even tried to respond by body slamming forward, but he came up a little bit shy. You know, Kobe, I have been playing League of Legends for over 10 years now, and I think that's the first time I've ever seen Gragas' body slam come up short. I feel like that hitbox always just magically expands to hit whoever he's aiming for, but Fudge just tragically a hair too short, so he ends up getting hit by the damage from Huni with the extra from the Trial by Fire. Of course, he's still keeping that farm nice and close up there as we see Spica moving into the enemy jungle here, taking away some of this farm from Blaber. Wants to steal away those Krugs. Remember, with the jungle changes in Season 11, you do want to clear out as many of the baby Krugs as possible. The gold was changed around because too many people were just clearing the big ones and then running away. So they put a lot of the value there in the little baby Krugs. So Spica got most of those. Blaber will pick up the last couple there and get the camp reset.
Yeah, some people are still running away from him. And the thing about Gragas body slam, the only thing that's a little tricky is, obviously you do stop on first thing hit, so you have to watch out for that. But yeah, it's definitely one of the most powerful abilities that you can have for a basic ability. in these kits. Bottom side, though, we see Roam from SwordArt to get that vision through the river with his first back. I love when supports invest really heavily early on in move speed and vision. Definitely both trying to attempt to do that.
Yeah, look at the ward coverage for TSM there on the bottom half of the map. Tri-Brush, Enemy Red, Scuttle Crab, as well as Control Ward in the Pixel Brush. These guys are feeling very safe if anybody tries to show up. If Blaber wants to go down there and make a play, TSM should be able to back away very comfortably, and they know it. That's why they're playing so aggressively. That's why they're this far forward. And Lost is currently enjoying a CS lead over his opponent. PowerOfEvil going for the flash into the stun, and here comes the follow-up from Spica. First blood for TSM.
Spica with the Nidalee pick again, and this time you get to set it up with Twisted Fate. This is why we sound like we're just broken records, Captain Flowers. Whenever we have Talia, whenever we have Nidalee, every caster shouting, all right, now pick some point-and-click CC for him in the solo lane. Well, guess what? PoE just showcases it there, stuns it, and Spica is so good too. With the gold card timing, he was close enough. He can even sneak in the extra auto first, still stunned long enough to get the spear hit. Nice from Fudge.
That was a beautiful cast from Fudge. Hit Huni perfectly to knock him backwards. Huni knows, even with flash, there is no way out of that one. His fate is sealed. Good gank, even better setup there from Fudge, and Cloud9's tying up this game.
Yeah, very efficient gank. Blaber, able to get off that clear towards the top side of the map. He, remember, started his rotation down on bottom on Krugs, just clears straight up all the way to the top side, gets a quick gank off due to the setup from Fudge. Gragas ultimate is one of those things without setup that you can look real silly because a small miss in the angle and your complete play is down the trash can. But really nice setup there. They get the counter kill, so it is back to 1-1. Still another close game here, heading into game number 2. And I like that they try and target Perkz before Akali's level 6. She doesn't have the possibility of any shenanigans here, and doesn't have any sort of rebuttal as far as the big burst damage that you're usually worried about. Take a look at this one, though. You saw it live. There's not really a big difference. The only thing I would also point out is that you see on the mini-map how this was during a timing where they had SwordArt roaming mid, and they even tried to hover PowerOfEvil towards the top side. So it was very, very important. Critical that Fudge actually pulled off a perfect Gragas ultimate there, and they finished the kill that quickly, because otherwise the TSM reinforcements are coming.
Now you've got Vulcan roaming around here a little bit, seeing if maybe there's something to be done. TSM also with one Drake already under their belt at 7.5 minutes here. Nearly a 1,000 gold lead despite the kills being tied too. And you can see the farm even in top laners and junglers, but mid lane PowerOfEvil building up a nice advantage for himself. Immediately using the heal there from the Summoner's Spellbook, just getting himself away. Does not want to risk anything with Vulcan going for a flash headbutt pulverize. He knows Perkz has Ignite plus the ulti ready to go. Just one misstep can easily be his death. Now we'll see if SwordArt can find any sort of retaliation here. It doesn't appear so, considering that ward from Perkz is right down there in the mid lane, sees exactly what's going on. But Perkz has to be so careful, man. Not having a flash. We saw what happened on the first blood with what goes down if he's just too far forward himself. The flash from PowerOfEvil so effective at setting up these moves. As Blaber not going to give away the blue buff this game. That's the nice part about having an energy-based mid laner. You got more of an excuse to keep it all for yourself. And Blaber heads over into the Rift Herald pit, starting up on this one. We'll see if this ends up being another wacky fight like the last one was. Cloud9 bringing Fudge down here into the fight as well. Spica rotating over, PowerOfEvil rotating over, Huni is here, SwordArt is here, everybody's showing up, and a nice wombo combo coming out. Vulcan is immediately ready, and Spica is immediately dead. Cloud9 pick up a free kill, they grab the eye, and that Rift Herald play went wonderful.
Yep, hide on bush. Definitely pays off here for Cloud9. Rift Herald now, that can be turned into money very quickly. Zven in the mid lane isn't going to have to blow anything. Actually just going to be able to utilize his teammates to help push in the wave too, and Cloud9 take over the entire top half of the map. Blaber's looking for counter jungle into dive.
Here he goes, going after PowerOfEvil. Immediate killer instinct, follow up from Zven, and Cloud9 made that one look easy. Double kill for the AD carry.
One thing about dive comps is that you want to keep up the pressure. You want to keep up these dives even between turrets, while you have the extra added advantage of just having killed, just having killed one of the members of TSM, they don't want to let TSM get a full reset. If you let the map fully reset and then gain their bearings once again, trying to establish their defenses, that's what TSM wants, so then they can make their Twisted Fate plays offensively. But if you attack the Twisted Fate, while you still have the extra advantage here, they push the lane in, 4 members, Vulcan doesn't hesitate. Right after PoE takes the Lantern, he gets a double knockup. It's so good for the Alistar. You just sit right next to the Thresh, knowing that there's going to be a Dark Passage to save him from the Hecarim Kaisa initial dive. He just gets 2 for 1 on the knockup, easily able to lock up those kills for Cloud9 and bump them right ahead in the gold.
Cloud9 feeling good about these last couple of plays there in mid lane and up at the Rift Herald. But the silver lining for TSM, the gold is still very close in this game. Less than 3 kills worth, which means they are farming better passively than their opponents are. You can see here, item completed. You've got the fully done support item for Vulcan there in the bottom lane. Gold on your screen right now. You got Fudge with about a 500 lead over Huni in the top side, which is impressive in its own right, considering Gangplank gets extra gold just by farming with Parlay. But when Fudge has 1 kill and 1 assist, that easily explains what's going on there. As Blaber might be setting up for a dive here in the top lane. He and Fudge working together. Comet finds its way onto Huni. Huni's still defending here, setting up a couple of barrels. Blaber's still hanging out. Started to channel the recall and canceled it. You know they want to go after this. Blaber's going to find Huni waiting here. Immediately dropping the red smite. Comes back in with devastating charge. Here comes your TF ulti wanting to swoop in. Cloud9 already grabbing themselves a kill. The stun onto Blaber will not find him in time. Blaber with the onslaught of shadows over the wall. Blaber probably going to be picked up here. PowerOfEvil grabbing the kill. Spear from Spica. He wants to catch up. Needs a little bit more distance. Flash for Flash, but Spica's still got him. Fudge falls down. And it's a 1 for 2 that ends up going TSM's way.
And with the pings, too, you could tell TSM expecting that top lane play. Question mark pings go down right before it. Huni getting a little close checking that brush. But because Fudge threw his ultimate, trying to predict like a last-second flash from Huni there, without Gragas ultimate, they're not able to get Blaber or Fudge out alive, and TSM collapse for the extra kills. That's a huge punishment. You take down not only the counter kills and regain control of top side, but also denies the early use of that Rift Herald. And there's only 2 more minutes left for these Herald plates, so Blaber has to be very careful about the next attempt that they make if he wants to get full value and get some of those plates down with it.
Man, if you're Cloud9, you have got to be upset at the Drake RNG so far in this series. 2 games where TSM starts off with a 2-0 lead on the Drakes, and 2 games where it turns into an Ocean Soul. That feels bad, man, but that's the state of the game here for C9, who do still command themselves a 1,000 gold lead. Shelly's about to charge. Remember, the charge does a little bit more than 2 plates, so boom! Look at that first turret for Cloud9. Up almost 2,000 gold now. Shelly should be able to get this second charge off. Half the HP on the tier 2 isn't a bad bonus prize on top of that first turret gold. Perkz feeling good here in the mid lane too with that enemy tier 1 turret gone. Means that if PowerOfEvil just gets a little bit too brave, he will be food for Akali to pick herself up a freebie. Perkz still only with a couple of assists, no kills yet on this mid lane assassin.
Yeah, definitely expect Cloud9 to look towards side pressure now, though, that they've taken down mid lane. This is exactly what you want with a dive comp, is taking down mid lane turret first opens up the map so you can push mid and look to spread through either side and keep up this pressure. Very, very good that Cloud9 were able to push down that mid wave and activate Rift Rail to get this full value out of it, kind of recovering very quickly from the top lane fail. Because now you're looking at, from TSM's perspective, they're going to have to rely pretty heavily on the ultimates from their solo laners to cover these plays. Because Cloud9 definitely have, one thing on their mind, looking for PowerOfEvil. Where on the map is he? Trying to dive him again. Twisted Fate with no flash is definitely a big target. You do have to account for stopwatch, and Proto Belt, Rocket Belt actually provides a decent amount of movement as well. But no flash, definitely a viable target here. Also would take out one of the possible globals.
Lost is in a spot that could easily get jumped on here if Blaber decides to fully commit. Nope, not today. They see that, all right, the Thresh is hanging out there. This dive is risky. We're not going to go for it. TSM's bottom lane stays safe. Perkz is just on top of awards, so not going to get much of a chance to do a whole lot with this one. Gold card thrown out. PowerOfEvil staying a little bit too close. Ignite is dropped down. Stasis is used. PowerOfEvil in a bad spot here, and look at the damage from Cloud9. Blaber swoops in there as Spica wants to get in, find some sort of return kill. Perkz in a bad spot. Perkz is gone. Lost grabs the kill credit. Death sentence over the wall will not find anyone else for Cloud9, so this is a 1-for-1. Mid laners traded back and forth.
So actually, both parts of it come true, Flowers. They do find PowerOfEvil, you know, with the big target on his back, and they do find that successful dive, but also TSM are still able to use their globals to cover for it, with Huni using ult and teleport, you know, to get the counter kill onto the mid laners. So as you say, they do end up trading mid laners, and really the big difference is that Huni had to invest his teleport and his ult to do it, which allows Fudge to further open up the map, get more territory for these possible engagements for Cloud9 looking to pick people off, as well as getting a bit more money on him. And he's going Burst Gragas, by the way. That's another of the flexible parts of the champion. You don't have to go full tank. He's going Night Harvester. Here's another look at it, though. Again, you only have to account for the stopwatch. You know PowerOfEvil has no flash available, so they wait it out. They complete the dive, but because Huni teleports towards mid lane, you have a 3-pronged attack through the jungle with TSM's bottom lane roaming up, and that ensures you at least get yourselves the counter.
Yeah, in the previous game, Huni's most offensive item on the Gragas was a Sunfire. His job was to be the front line. That's what he was down for. Made sense. He had the grasp of the Undying. The comment from Fudge says, nope, he is not playing that meatball style. He wants to be the leading people 100-0. The stylish Gragas plays where you throw down the Q and then use your ulti to knock him into the waiting barrel. But the Drake is alive. Cloud9 currently with a 2,000 gold lead, but it's TSM starting up the objective. C9 wants to contest. Blaber is ready to go. Has ulti, has smite. TSM knows that unless there's a fight beforehand, they are 50-50ing this, which can be very, very dangerous in a game of League of Legends that is this close. TSM trying to throw out a little bit of poke here. Still maintaining aggro on the Drake. Taking a little bit of damage here and there. Now focusing on it, have it down to half HP. TSM committing to the objective now. TP coming in. Drake's going to reset. TSM getting themselves away. Very nice cast into the middle of 3, separating TSM. Cloud9 making the dive. Perkz exhausted here in the middle of the fight. Going back up the wall, chasing away PowerOfEvil. First kill of the fight over to Perkz. Vulcan disengaging. 1/4 HP. TSM still feeling not that great, if I'm being quite honest. Yeah, you got good health bars on 3 out of 4 of your remaining players, but one of your guys is also already dead. Curtain call firing off. Spica jumping in after Fudge. Spica might want to go in over the wall looking for this Drake, seeing if maybe he's able to steal it away, but no, sir! Blaber gets that one done, and it will not be a 4-0 Drake soul here in game number 2. Cloud9 kill the enemy mid laner and take the objective.
And TSM had the right idea initially, was sending SwordArt towards the Tribrush to try and mark Fudge, but Fudge just waits it out. He stays on that flank, comes in with a really nice Gragas ultimate, which kind of dissects the team. You get half in and half of them out and away, so there's no follow-up damage. And Cloud9 are able to just get that kill off of Fudge's ultimate straight through the middle, allowing them to take, even still, a pretty risky, you know, attempt at the smite fight on that dragon, with Spica landing that spear. And if he had jumped in a little bit earlier, definitely decent chances for TSM trying to steal it away, but it does end up going and really, really stalling out the possibility of that Ocean Soul that you talked about, you know, stacking up for TSM once again. If you get this third dragon and you kind of stop TSM stacking in their tracks, you buy yourself a lot of breathing room.
It's so much easier to play the game from that point. Let's take another look at how it went down. TSM losing their mid laner.
Yeah, and so SwordArt's watching Vulcan here. It's kind of hard because Cloud9 have 2 flanks. Vulcan on the top side, Fudge on the bottom. They do try and stop the Alistar, and Fudge gets in a really nice ultimate, as we said, kind of separating the team. Perkz and Blaber then have an easy dive. Akali and Hecarim can cover so much distance, and guess what? Twisted Fate doesn't build Gale Force, and Proto Belt not enough distance for him, so you're definitely going to need summoners to help out as well when you're trying to alleviate some of the dive pressure. I think this time around, TSM have a little bit fewer as far as their anti-dive abilities, and Cloud9 actually even have a stronger option for themselves. So they're able to pick it up, TSM going to quickly reset onto the map and trade a bottom tower for Rift Herald here, which Cloud9 can actually use to try and crack secondaries.
Cloud9 having 2 turrets under the belt, so only tier 1 still standing is that bottom lane tier 1 turret. That thing's pretty far away though. We'll see if Blaber wants to go for that one as the freebie or commit to these tier 2s like you were already talking about. Remember, the mid lane tier 2 did take a Shelly charge earlier after the tier 1 was destroyed by the first Shelly of this game. You have your Zhonya's Hourglass completed for Fudge for big playmaking opportunities. You can see that popping up on your screen right now showing the completion. Lost will just continue farming up here on the Jhin, maintaining that farm lead he's had over Zven for the entire game. Gale Force also ready to go. You talked last game about how important this item is for marksmen in this new season in 2021. It's just opening up so many more avenues, particularly for champions like Jhin, whose intended weakness is a lack of mobility. Just one slight positioning error, they're supposed to be dead. Having that built-in extra dash can give this guy so much mileage to be able to commit for more damage in the middle of a fight. As Huni might be waiting for Fudge to step a little bit too far forward here. That did not work out too well. And you can see Fudge now being the one in the middle of a 1v3, but he just slides away. The old truffle shuffle, and he's out.
Yep, definitely don't opt for the path through your opponents and head straight up through the river towards your team. Great decision making there for Fudge. Able to get himself out right to his comfort zone. Blaber now going to come answer a little bit. He also has the Rift Herald.
Oh, Huni getting jumped on. Nice burst coming down. Zven grabbing that kill, and they are going to make this one a buy one, get one free. SwordArt stasis only buys him a moment. I'm going to say that's buy one, get 1.5 free, Kobe. Not only did you get SwordArt as a bonus, but he broke his damn stopwatch on the way out. That is a big play for Cloud9.
Ah, he's going to have to get the face replaced on his iPhone now. That's going to be annoying. You got to get some extra care for that. Cloud9, they actually don't keep up, top lane split push here for Perkz. Maybe because the extra minion wave on bottom meant they couldn't, immediately go for Rift Herald and grab the turret. I thought that was going to be the play. I thought, go for the dive, get the quick kills, immediately Rift Herald. The Rift Herald can tank up and take down the defenses on the outer turret, so it doesn't get the backdoor bonus. It can immediately take down bottom turret in preparation for the dragon. They opt to still reset, hold on to the Rift Herald. So this dragon setup will still be with TSM having bottom defenses, but just look at this. The dive that they've put together with this squad, as we mentioned before, Kaisa can join from halfway up the river. Zven does have to flash out because SwordArt is able to get the play off before he stopwatches. But back out at it.
It does not stop, my friend. Cloud9 looking for the chance to make a play, but another TP showing up. This one's from TSM. Zven at 3/4 HP. PowerOfEvil the same. Everybody else full and ready to go. Drake is alive on the map. TSM with control over the bottom side river. Perkz still up near mid lane, rotating down to the fight now. Some visions, some traps being swept away now by the side of Cloud9 as they try to approach a little bit further. Look from SwordArt onto the enemy support as Blaber's diving in. He's got the rest of the team behind him. They're already able to find the kill onto PowerOfEvil. Lost getting himself over the wall here with the Gale Force as Perkz is looking to take down Huni in the 1v1. That smoke is nothing to mess with, man. Perkz grabbing a kill. And Huni is out of the picture. Both enemy solo laners dead. Cloud9 going for their second Drake of the game, and things are slowly but surely slipping away from TSM.
And it looks like during the replay, Blaber actually put the Rift Herald towards the top side. This top inhib turret just took 80% of its life with the Rift Herald during the fight down bottom side. And so Cloud9 are able to get most of that one, almost all of it squeezed out with a little distraction Rift Herald as they go for the fight and force it on mid. That's some high value there, getting the extra kills as well as most of that objective.
All right, Kobe, things have been going bad for TSM for a while here. It seems like every time Cloud9 goes to execute their composition's goal, there's just nothing that TSM can do to hold the line against that. What's got to change here for TSM to get back onto a decent footing in this game and stop losing this ground at such a rapid rate?
I think they're actually going to have to make the pick themselves with Twisted Fate.
Well, Deadly Flourish doesn't find Perkz. Nice moves coming out from Perkz. He's got the juke boots on. They are laced up and ready to go. The boys right back into the fight. Now he's in the stasis, trying to buy a little bit of time. PowerOfEvil's going to die here. Mid laner from mid laner, 1-for-1 so far. Perkz was feeling himself a little bit after them side steps, but decided to step a little bit far forward, and now he's in the ground, but the 1-for-1 is fine for Cloud9. They'll continue jumping in. Here's Zven dominating now with a kill on the enemy AD carry. Fudge keeping 2 occupied, just wasting as much time as he can. Waiting for the rest of the team to come back in here. Vulcan grabbing a kill onto SwordArt. Fudge getting the kill onto Spica. Cloud9, 4 dead on the enemy team, only losing their mid laner. Huni's alive. He's taking a red buff. What else is he going to do? He is 1v4 as a Gangplank without flash, without ultimate. Just give this one away. Do not go near this Baron pit. The chance of you stealing this is less than 1. Just don't do it.
Barrel chain.
This is foolishness. This is absolute foolishness. Vulcan is just going to occupy him the entire time. Baron is secured. Enemy jungler has his smite button, and that fight is done.
Yeah, it looks a whole lot different when TSM don't have the Galio and the Gragas from last game as their counter engage. Cloud9 have been running rampant, and this is even with Perkz starting it out going very aggressive. He does not have Shroud left after using it in the rivers. Goes super deep here onto Spica and does get killed, but it does allow the rest of Cloud9 to finish up this charge. Blaber kind of zones out that lantern. If Spica takes it, then the charge goes off and Blaber can knock him back out of it anyways. If he doesn't take it, then this happens, since C9 just turned their sights towards Lost. Take down actually a higher priority target in exchange for it. And even though Fudge pour one more ultimate out on the ground for the homies, doesn't matter because he's got way more homies left alive.
I feel like this is looking like it's going to game number 3 at this rate, Kobe. And
for sure.
If it does, I feel like Gragas priority is going to be a very real thing. Like, this champion in both games has just been instrumental to the success of the team that it was on. Tier 2 turret falling in the mid lane now, 5-2 turret lead for Cloud9 as they're up 7,500 gold over TSM. Zven rotating into the bottom lane here. Fudge already has the minion wave primed and ready to go. Auto attacks into the tier 2 will be able to bring this down. Just like we saw last time when the roles were reversed, Cloud9 pushing down these tier 2 turrets, and TSM is not in a spot to be able to try to stop them. Perkz going into the stasis, stays alive to prevent more CC from following up on that one. And all he's doing is wasting everybody on TSM's time. 3 players from TSM were trying to chase him down, and that just means that the bottom lane inhibitor gets destroyed, SwordArt gets destroyed. Everything in the TSM infrastructure in this base is collapsing, Kobe, and you've got Blaber who's not willing to stop here just yet. Lost is gone. It's a double kill over to Zven. He pops the cleanse and he goes right after PowerOfEvil, who gets himself away, but Spica's barely at half HP. Cloud9 with a 5-man squad, still pushing even further forward. Perkz into the back, slices and dices right back through him with a perfect execution. Couldn't have named the ability better myself. Cloud9 going after Nexus turret number 1. That one should fall right about now with an uppercut from Alistar. Nexus turret number 2 about to drop as well. Cloud9 looking to tie this up, take us to game number 3. They are looking way different here in the second round, Kobe. These boys came to play, and we are going to the decider match as Zven pads the stats a little bit more, and Cloud9 has flipped that switch to the on position.
Quick little few adjustments here for Cloud9, and we do get an entire series here. 3 full games from Cloud9 and TSM in the lock-in tournament. Exactly what we wanted. Honestly, I really like the small adjustments that you mentioned too with the Gragas for top lane, but there is another thing on this lineup that stands out. No other AD carry does what Kaisa does, and Cloud9 are running hard dive. Kaisa is the hardest of diving AD carries. So that as a first pick going over to Cloud9 twice with the blue side, I think is going to be one of the main things TSM now look to change moving forward, since we do get a tiebreaker game, final one here coming up.
And remember that TSM, as the team who lost game number 2, will have the ability to select their side here in game number 3. So if TSM chooses blue, things will switch up a little bit. But if they don't, we'll see something much more similar to these first couple of games, even though, honestly, I don't think I can even say that anymore truthfully, since the first 2 games were so different in their outcome. Very Strong performance from Cloud9 here in this second game. 19-to-5, something along those lines was the final scoreline. Just absolutely slamming their opponents. Looked really good. I'm excited to see what game number 3 looks like. I hope we get to see game 1 TSM versus game 2 Cloud9 and game number 3, and it's just an absolute bloodbath. We're taking a break, but on the other side of that break, the analyst desk is going to look towards the deciding match of this best of 3. Don't